Boa tarde, pessoal. Hoje é o nosso terceiro dia da Semana Internacional 2023, cujo tema é O Mundo na Ponta da Língua. Para a atividade de agora, nós contamos com a presença da professora Miriam Mansur, diretora brasileira do Instituto Confúcio da UFMG, e o professor Liu Wei. A Miriam vai começar a dizer para nós um pouco do trabalho do Instituto Confúcio, que será complementado pelo professor Liu. Boa tarde, Miriam. Muito obrigada por aceitar nosso convite. Good afternoon, Professor Liu. Thank you for being here with us.
Good afternoon, Professor Cristina. Thank you very much.
Professora Cristina, muito obrigada pela introdução. A gente agradece, em nome do Instituto Confúcio da UFMG, o convite para participar da Semana Internacional do CEFET, cujo tema é O Mundo na Ponta da Língua. Um tema bem apropriado para a nossa apresentação hoje. Só que hoje a ponta da língua vai ser em chinês, via inglês, com a apresentação do professor Liu. Nosso diretor internacional, diretor chinês, professor Liu Wei, ele é doutor na área de linguística e linguística aplicada. Ele foi professor visitante da Universidade de Portsmouth, no Reino Unido, e é professor da HUST, que é nossa universidade parceira, desde 1996, professor de inglês da HUST. A nossa parceria foi iniciada em 2013. Os institutos Confúcio ao redor do mundo, eles são sempre de parcerias de instituições internacionais com instituições locais. A nossa universidade parceira é a HUST, que é sediada na cidade de Wuhan, na China, e daqui a pouquinho o professor Liu vai falar um pouquinho da importância do Instituto Confúcio hoje, não só no mundo, mas também na UFMG. Em Minas, a gente vem desenvolvendo um trabalho de expansão muito sério, levando não só a língua, mas também a cultura chinesa, não só para o nosso público acadêmico, né, dentro da Universidade Federal de Minas Gerais, mas também para nosso público externo. Nós temos hoje parcerias com o CEFET, com o Coltec, algumas escolas, né, de ensino fundamental e médio, também da região, escolas particulares. Temos convênio com a Prefeitura de Belo Horizonte, atendendo uma turma no Colégio Imaco. Então, o trabalho vem sendo desenvolvido hoje de uma forma bem abrangente. E uma novidade do momento é que a gente está atendendo a comunidade chinesa dentro do Shopping Oiapoque, também com aulas de mandarim para os filhos de descendentes chineses. É importante, né, informar como que funciona esse ensino. São meninos, filhos, né, ou nascidos na China, ou filhos, né, de chineses, que têm o domínio da habilidade de fala e de escuta, mas não têm o domínio da escrita e da leitura. Então, o nosso instituto também está com uma parceria junto ao Shopping Oiapoque para atendimento aí da comunidade chinesa. Agora eu vou passar a palavra para o professor Liu e ele vai dar continuidade sobre todo o nosso trabalho, e a língua usada para hoje, para facilitar a comunicação, será a língua inglesa. Agradeço mais uma vez o convite e espero que a gente consiga contribuir um pouco para este evento do CEFET. Muito obrigada. Professor Liu, your turn.
Okay, thank you, Professor Miriam, for your introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Liu Yi. I'm from Huazhong University of Science and Technology. And I have been expecting to visit our Confucius Institute Chinese classes in primary schools and middle schools. So this time when Miriam asked me to give lectures, I'm thinking maybe I can give lectures to you face to face. But now we have to make it online. But I hope someday I can see you in person, and then we can communicate with each other. Today, I will make a brief introduction about Confucius Institute and some most important features of Chinese culture. So this is just a crash course, a very, very simple introduction about Confucius Institute and Chinese culture. I hope you may like to have more detailed information concerning Chinese culture. Miriam, can we have the word bigger? I can't see the words. I think one page, one time, that's better. Just one page, one time, and make it still be bigger. I can't see the words.
Sorry, I'm trying to adjust this because it's in word format.
It's a word format. It's a word.
It's strange for me to
really. Oh, I'm sorry.
This. I'm trying. Let's see if I can apply the zoom.
Yes, that's better. That's better. That's better.
Great.
Still. But if I switch on my computer, and then it will have the crease, right? The crazy noise.
Yes. I'm trying to
it's too small. It's too small for me. I can't see it.
Okay, let's try. Sorry. 400. Oh. And now, it's not working. I will try to convert to PDF. Just a minute, please.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Pessoal, só minutinho, é porque tá tudo em formato Word, então fica mais complicado. Cristina e Miriam, eu vou botar vocês na tela enquanto isso, só para a audiência não ficar desatendida.
Pensando que estamos trabalhando a Semana Internacional do CEFET em 2023, então nada melhor do que essa internacionalização com a própria língua chinesa diante da nossa tela, né, gente? Então, estamos aí investindo nesse momento temático do CEFET.
Isso. E eu acho que eu já posso falar um pouco, Miriam, dos nossos planos. Ainda são planos, vamos construir, mas já tivemos a aprovação pela diretoria do CEFET, tanto a diretoria atual quanto a nova diretoria, de fazer um novo formato que foi proposto pela professora Miriam, de oferecer o curso de mandarim de forma continuada para a comunidade do CEFET, e ele cabe perfeitamente e vai ao encontro do que a gente vem pensando do programa O Mundo na Ponta da Língua, que é um programa de extensão que foi aprovado agora em julho pela nossa diretoria de extensão. É um programa que foi aprovado com duração de 5 anos, podendo ser renovado, e ele conta com colaboradores e voluntários. Então, eu acho que nós temos que trabalhar um pouco nisso ainda, né, professora Miriam, talvez o professor Liu, para fazer esse formato, mas muito provavelmente, a partir do primeiro semestre de 2024, nós vamos ter uma turma aberta do nível básico, e que será um ensino continuado, né? O básico 1, depois no segundo semestre básico 2, e assim sucessivamente.
O trabalho vem sendo desenvolvido pelo Instituto Confúcio da UFMG, junto ao CEFET, já há bastante tempo, né, Cristina? E vem tendo aí uma resposta positiva dos alunos, mas o formato das aulas, ele segue esse estilo oficina, trabalhando mais a cultura chinesa e em alguns pontos ali em que atividades culturais são desenvolvidas. A proposta é de dar uma nova roupagem para essa parceria, que seria um curso regular em que os alunos receberão ali não só a educação continuada, mas abertura de turmas novas, ou semestralmente ou anualmente, para que mais alunos sejam contemplados e os alunos terminarem, né, o ensino médio ou a graduação, com certificação também na língua chinesa. Essa é a ideia principal dessa sugestão que está sendo aí apresentada para essa nova possibilidade da nossa parceria. E a gente espera que tudo dê certo, ajudando sempre e colaborando para que os alunos tenham aí formação e, né, continuem no chinês.
É isso, então, fiquem atentos, né? As comunicações são sempre feitas pela página da internet, da SRI, pelo Instagram, e vamos ter coisas novas para o próximo ano. So I think now it's okay, Professor Liu. Maybe you can continue. Thank you again. Thank you, Julio.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for the trouble. First, I'd like to very briefly introduce the Confucius Institute. I've got 3 questions. The first question is, what is Confucius Institute? Confucius Institute is a kind of non-profit institute jointly run by Chinese and foreign enterprises or institutions. It endeavors to meet the needs of the people in the world to study Chinese, to promote the understanding and communication between different peoples in the world, to develop some kind of education and cultural communication and cooperation, to make the world more harmony and more friendly. And the Confucius Institute, we usually have mostly is in Chinese education and culture communication and cooperation. For example, we have Chinese classes and to train Chinese professors to provide some resources for Chinese education. Please move ahead. Yes, thank you. And to start and to give HSK test for students and professors, and also we can provide Chinese education and culture consultation activities. And the Confucius Institute in different parts of the world will make full use of its own advantages to have education and culture activities. So you can see that actually the Confucius Institute in different world, they may have different features. Please move ahead a little bit more. Okay, thank you. So in this case, it is welcomed by the people in the world. Confucius Institute, one important job of Confucius Institute is to provide the standard modified Chinese textbooks and to give them the most authentic channel to study Chinese language. So in 2004, the first Confucius Institute was founded in Seoul, in South Korea. Up to 2019, December, we can say China has established 550 Confucius Institutes in 162 countries or regions in the world. Okay, please continue. Okay, thank you. And it giving millions of students who study Chinese to understand Chinese language and Chinese culture, and it plays a very important role in Chinese education and making the world understand China. Next page. No. It should be question number 2. Yes, that's right. Yes. Thank you. So the second question is, why Confucius Institute is named after Confucius? In Chinese history, we have got many different schools of philosophy or of ideology. Actually, more according to the history, some people have done some calculation. They say they have got about 189 different schools of thoughts in ancient Chinese history, and mostly they include Confucianism, Taoism, legalism, and Moism. And we can say for Confucianism, the typical representative is Kongzi and Mengzi. Please, when you study Chinese, ancient Chinese, please pay attention. When we have Zi, it means it's a person who has been a very high social position and should be respected. So is someone who is very much learned. We call this person Zi. So Kongzi, actually his name is Kongqiu, but we call him Kongzi. And then we have Mengzi. Then finally we have got Laozi, Zhuangzi. So you should, if we start Chinese culture, you should remember this, okay? And for Buddhism, for Confucianism, the most important point is that it is aimed to educate the gentlemen, the best educated people, for the governance of a country. So this is the purpose of Confucianism. And how can they do it? Its main ideas include, for example, we see 仁义礼智信. That is to be kind, to have courtesy, and to have righteousness, and to have wisdom, and to have faithfulness. Okay, so these are the main things, and its purpose is to make these gentlemen to control their desires. So we can say it encourages people to get in touch with the present world, but we need to pay attention to control how much we can go. So we can say Confucianism in a way is to encourage people to get in touch with the present world, which is not perfect, but try to make it better. So this is the most important thing of Confucianism. And second is Taoism. Taoism is representative on Laozi and Zhuangzi, and these in this philosophy, they try to encourage the harmony between human beings and the nature, and also the harmony in one's mind. Only when a person can understand they are a part of the world, and then try to follow the rules or the tendency of the development, and then the world will become much better without human interference. So Taoism is different from Confucianism. In Confucianism tries to control ourselves and then to make the world better. But Taoism means you should follow the rules of nature, try to get in harmony with the nature. Maybe doing nothing is better than doing anything. So this is the second school. The third school is legalism. Legalism is the typical example. Representative is Sangyang. He's a very famous person in China history in doing reforms, and his idea is we need to use, okay, say the the legal rules, laws to control people's behavior, and by using outside force, that is the rules, the laws to control people's behavior. So it's different from Confucianism. Confucianism emphasizes the inner cultivation of one's personal character or one's personality, so that this person can be a gentleman. So even without rules, without laws, you can behave yourself. But legalism says that it's very hard for people to do that. So it's better to have outside laws. And the fourth class of philosophy in China is Moism. Moism, the typical representative is Mo Di, and he emphasizes we need to love, to have love of the people, and we should not attack, and we should respect we can say the noble people, and we should try to be thrifty, to make full use of all the things we have. So you can see that in Chinese history, I've got many different kinds. But why Confucianism was chosen? That's because actually you can later I'll talk a little bit about it. That is, say, for example, when Confucius was born, he was born in the we call it 春秋时期, the spring and autumn period. At that time, China consists of many different kind of small countries. Because, for example, the king of a country have a war with another country, and then they win the war, and then the generals who have done good jobs in the war will be giving a piece of land, and then these generals will become the king of that piece of land. So in this case, in Confucius' time, we have got many small countries, and at that time, and we can say the countries, they are, because they have different rules, different practice, and then they are very often fighting with each other. And when the people from the bottom, for example, if you are at the bottom of the society and you think you are bullied, you are oppressed, you sacrifice a lot, and then you think it is not fair, you want to rebel. And in this case, you can see you don't need Confucianism, because Confucianism means you need to control your desires. You should behave yourself. So you can see in Chinese history, usually at the end of an empire and before the birth of a new empire, usually the new emperor will throw away Confucianism. They think Confucianism is rubbish, we should throw it away. But when they came to power, when they were in position, and then they want to make the whole world more peaceful, and then they will make full use of, they will respect Confucianism. So in this case, please be careful. We can say Confucianism was adopted by the rulers. That's because Confucianism can be used to control the people, okay, to make the people behave themselves. So in this case, the position of the empire will be safe. Okay, please continue. So in the Chinese, in the Confucianism, we've got a lot of ideas, just like we see the 仁义礼智信, that is kindness, righteousness, polite courtesy, wisdom, and belief. And also they say we're all brothers in the world, and the world can be different, but we should live in harmony. Okay, all these kind of ideas came to Confucius. So you can see now, you can see the picture of Confucius. So from this picture, you can see that he's holding his hand to, in Chinese we say 作揖, to show respect to people. As a gentleman, you should show courtesy. And usually, if you in China, you should cover your right hand with your left hand. So when you see someone, you will cover your right hand with your left hand and then bow a little bit to say hello, good morning, or things like that. Continue. No, up. Okay. Now the third part, that is the principles of Confucius Institute. Actually, previously we have introduced a little bit, so it is almost the same. That is, say, Confucius Institute tries to promote the understanding of the people in the world, to understand Chinese language and Chinese culture, to improve the relationship, and to make the world a better place. And it is Confucius Institute serves the people from different fields and different levels. Okay, continue. Now, okay, I think that is what we can say about Confucius Institute. So anyway, Confucius Institute is a non-profit institute to make the people of the world understand traditional Chinese language and culture. And so now let's say something about Chinese culture. When we talk about culture, I find that many people have different understanding about what is a culture. But actually, when we talk about culture, we can say the culture can be understood in two different ways. One is in a general sense. Everything in the world is culture. So I find that, for example, in China, when we talk about culture, some students will say, oh, okay, I think the festivals, the holidays, and maybe some kind of traditional things, then that is culture. But actually, everything is culture. For example, when we have dinner, where do you sit? How will you eat? What food do you have? Actually, this is culture. In a narrow sense, it includes the literature, we can say the architecture, food, technology, and the customs, arts, philosophy. We can say philosophy, business, relationship, blood. All these is called culture. So actually, when we talk about Chinese culture, we'll try to cover everything. And but we can say generally we have three levels of culture. The first one is the material culture. The material culture includes, for example, the clothes we have, the vehicles we can use for transportation, and the machines the people have made. And for example, in China, we use chopsticks to take food, but in Brazil, you use forks and knives. Okay, so that is what we call, we can say, material or this kind of culture. The second is the institutional level. This includes the social norms, social systems, the customs, and we can say the rules we have to control the behavior of people. And the third level is ideological level. For example, arts, music, drama, literature, and religious beliefs. So in this case, we usually divide, we can divide culture into 3 different levels. Please continue. This second, we can say that about continuity of the Chinese culture. Of all the cultures in the world, the Chinese culture is unique in that it has got it's the only one which has continued from ancient time until today. If you look at some ancient cultures in the world, they have disappeared. Many of the cultures disappeared because they lost their written language. But Chinese language has been keep on until today and still used. So that is say the Chinese culture is unique in that even today we know what happens 574 years ago. Today, 574 years ago, Confucius was born. Okay, how can we know that? Because it is written in our history book. And the third point is about diversity. As previously I have introduced the different schools. We can say Confucianism, Taoism, Buddhism, and Moism. But I didn't say much about Buddhism. Actually, Buddhism is not. Some people say is not traditional Chinese culture, because according to some records, they say that is because that some people go to India and then they brought back some books from India, and then Buddhism was spread out in China. But some people say that actually Buddha is Lao Tzu. I hope you still remember we talk about Taoism. The founder of Taoism is Lao Tzu, and Lao Tzu, he if you look at some the scholars have different views about this. For example, some people say Lao Tzu is the same person as Buddha. That is to say, when if you look at the books, Lao Tzu in some time suddenly disappeared from historical record. Nobody, what happens to him? And then almost at the same time, Buddhism was developed in India. So some people, and if you study Buddhism and Taoism, and you can find that they are almost the philosophy is very close, almost the same. So that's why some people believe they're the same. Okay, but anyway, Buddhism, most people still believe it is introduced to China from India. Now, for the culture, we can divide it into 2 kinds. Some culture can be good, some culture can be bad, but it's not for us to say which one is good or bad. Anyway, all the culture play some role in the civilization, and now we're going to introduce some of the classical Chinese cultures to you, and you can see by yourself it is good or bad or what. But anyway, they are very much representative. The first one is calligraphy. The Chinese calligraphy emphasizes it should be a square. I think you should have some Chinese calligraphy classes, and if you have no chance to write Chinese calligraphy, maybe we can come to your class, to your school, and then we can teach you how to write Chinese characters. So the Chinese characters, they are in a square. So different from Portuguese, for example. In Portuguese, a word can be long or can be short, depending on how many characters you have. But in Chinese language, no matter how many strokes you have in a word, it's just you should take the same space. So in this case, this is one important feature. The second feature is the different parts of the writing should be in harmony. You should make it some very thin, some very thick, or some one part is much bigger than the other part. So in this case, that is no good. So Chinese calligraphy emphasizes the symmetry, and also you should combine action and quietness. That is, say, when we write a word, it seems that this word is doing something. For example, especially it is a word, it is a verb. When it's a verb, when people write this word, they write it in a different way. It seems that you're doing something. And also, some people believe that the writing should be from the bottom of your heart. You should understand the real meaning of this word, and then try to show your understanding or your emotion of this word in your writing. So this is a very, very complicated and difficult part. So only when you see people's handwriting, and then you can understand it. Now let's move to the picture. Miriam, I'm sorry. Yeah, the next page should be the picture. Yeah, this is a typical example. If you look at this picture, you'll find that of course this is a handwriting. Okay, this is a brush writing, and but if you look at the left, the words, they are more or less the same. But if you look at the right, you'll be different. Some words are bigger, and then they are not right so square. So this can show the feature and the understanding of the person who write this word. Okay, now let's come to the second kind of Chinese, traditional Chinese culture. The second Chinese culture is traditional Chinese medicine. The traditional Chinese medicine emphasizes that our body is an integrated part. You cannot say my arm is my arm, and my feet is my feet, and the stomach is my stomach. In traditional Chinese medicine, our whole body, they are integrated. It's an integrated whole. When you have something wrong with your finger, maybe there's nothing wrong with your finger, but something wrong with your heart. And because there's something wrong with your heart, then your finger have some kind of symptoms. Okay, have some symptoms of, for example, feel numb. And so in this case, they try to make. Actually, I find it's difficult to explain qi, because in the following part we're going to talk about Chinese Kung Fu, and then that is because of the qi, and we have got the qi which can move in our body. But if it is blocked, if the qi is blocked in our body, and then we may have some diseases. So in this case, the Chinese people use the small needles. We call this acupuncture. We put these needles in some of the parts of our body to make the qi continue move from one place to another. So in this case, acupuncture is something amazing, but it's difficult for people to understand. The next one is martial arts. The martial arts highly emphasizes the importance of strengthening your body. So the Chinese Kung Fu is different from the Brazilian way to do the gym. In Brazil, the people like to go to the gym to do physical exercise. But when they do the exercise, the purpose is to have muscles. But the Chinese people, they don't emphasize the muscles. it is not how much muscles you have, but we can say how strong your physical condition is. For example, this is the most difficult martial arts in Chinese culture. This person can use only 2 fingers to support his whole body. So even though you think you are very strong, you have a lot of muscles, can you do that? It's difficult. But if you want to do this, you need to use the qi from the place where a little bit below your stomach, okay, that place. Then you should move this force, the qi or the air, to your fingers, and then your fingers will become very strong, and then they can support you. But it's really difficult. You need to practice many years before you can make it. So this is the Chinese, and if you know Chinese Tai Chi, Chinese Tai Chi, they usually emphasize qi. So all the people who can play Chinese Kung Fu, they emphasize qi. Later on, if we have the time, maybe we can show you more things. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. This is Beijing opera. Beijing opera is also a typical Chinese culture. It emphasizes integrity and also virtuousness, and also it is formalized. You can see that in Chinese, in the Beijing opera, one person is different from another person. In that, you even look at the left picture. The picture on the left, this is a kind of a mask, and if you wear this kind of mask, you are that kind of person. So actually, it's not what you really is, but it's a kind of representative symbol. So when you wear this mask, oh, you know this is a bad man or this is a good man. Okay, what kind of a personality this person has? Because it's all been we can see to be formalized. But we can say why. But I mean, for young people, they think Beijing opera is very much boring and very slow. But actually, that is art. It's a different kind of art. If you don't understand it, if you do not understand the opera, and then it's difficult for you to understand or appreciate. So today we can say mostly the young people, they don't like it. Now let's move on to the next Chinese culture. That is cha. Tea. Now in China we call cha, and in Portuguese you also say cha, right? This person is making tea, and the Chinese tea is very much different from Portuguese tea, because we have got complicated procedures to process the tea leaves. So we cannot say it's not simply after you take off the tea leaves from the tea trees and then put it to dry it, and then you can make tea. It's not that. It's a very complicated process, and the different ways you make tea, and then you can have different kinds of tea. So we have got, for example, green tea, black tea, white tea, and also we've got pu'er tea or fermented tea. Many different kinds. It's difficult for us to know and understand all this, but I just want you to. I choose this picture. That's because I want you to know this. This kind of teapot is good for making tea, and we need to use the boiling water. After we put the tea inside, and then we pour the boiling water in this teapot, and then after about 8 or 10 or 15 minutes, okay, in the beginning it's very strong, maybe just several seconds, then we pour the tea out, and then we can drink it. after we drink it for 4 times, and then it's not very strong, and then maybe we can keep the water in the teapot for longer time, and maybe after more times, and then you say it become tasteless, you may change the tea. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. Yeah, the next one is this is what we say China, the porcelain. The porcelain, China got the name, is called China. Some people believe it's because of this, but some people have different understanding. Some people, because they called that China actually comes from Qin, Chin, which is pronounced as Qin, and the Qin is the first unified dynasty in Chinese history, and you know, in the whole world, in the Western language, you call a continent, a piece of land, you use for example, Asia, America, Europe, Europa, we can say Oceania. So you use R to mean a big place. So China, that is a Qin, because the Qin dynasty, and then we plus R, that means the place is called Qin. So that is a China. But some people all say China got a name because of this kind of container. This is a very beautiful one, and you can see that this kind of China is compilation of usefulness and art. So mostly because it can last a long time, the people will draw many beautiful, complicated patterns or pictures or patterns or designs on this kind of vase for use of worship, for containing things. Anyway, we can say now, we can say in the past, this is very, very expensive. So the Europeans come to China to buy this, and they spend a lot of money. Now let's move on to the next one. Yeah, this one is paper carding. The paper carding refers to the paper carding is related with the folk tales, the customs, and the historical events. So the people uses a paper, usually red paper. They have got a piece of red paper, and then they use scissors to cut it into the designs like this. For example, you can see this is a paper cutting for a historical feature in Song Dynasty, whose name is Hai Rui, and he's a very much righteous person, and he will never give up he will stick to what is right, and they will not give up to the evil spirits. So we can say this is a picture which is cut by scissor from red paper. So you can see how complicated it is, and usually some papers can be even made hollow in the middle, is hollowed out. Now let's move on to the next culture. Yeah, this culture is called in Chinese we call it 刺绣, embroidery. Okay, I'm sorry, I almost forgot this word. Embroidery. Embroidery, we use the needles and the threads to make this kind of picture. So this picture is made of silk. The material is silk. By using the needle to make this, and you can see that it's very much lively. So usually it takes a long time to finish one piece. So if you go to China, you find this, you can buy it, you can keep it. It's very, very thin, it's very light, but it's very much valuable. Now continue with the next one. Yeah, the next one is weiqi. Is weiqi. In English we call it go. Maybe this is the most ancient Chinese culture. That is because it started before the birth of Confucius. The Chinese in ancient China, the people they put this kind of black and white, different kind of maybe we can call it zi, or maybe we can see the seed or pieces on this kind of square board. They play to see who can take more space. It is really very much complicated, but if you can play it well, you need to keep the whole board, all those kind of small pieces into consideration to make sure you can win more space, you can cover more space. So you need to have a global view in mind, and also you can predict what will happen if you do something, and also you need very much accurate calculation. So you can see this is really typical Chinese culture. Now let's continue. Yeah, the next one is Hanfu. Hanfu, that means the clothes wear by the Han people, and it usually consists of two parts. That is, the upper part is called Yi, the lower part is called Sang. So today people say Yi Sang. Actually, Yi Sang, that means includes the clothes and the trousers. Today we call it trousers, but in the past, Yi and Sang are separated. They are different things. You can say that it is in the ancient Han clothes. There's no bottoms. You don't have got the bottoms to make the clothes together. But rather, it is made by using the belt. You see the belt. By using the belt to tie the clothes. And the last Chinese culture I want to mention is Mahjong, and this is a typical Chinese culture. And today it is very much popular in China. Especially when you go to Chengdu, I think Chengdu is a place maybe you have heard before, and it's a place where the people like Mahjong the most. But of course, in all over China, wherever you go, you can find people play Mahjong. So the Mahjong is a way for people to amuse themselves and at the same time to communicate with other people. So if you don't know someone, but if you play Mahjong together, you will know, oh, this person is a very clever person, or this person is a very stupid person. Very quickly, you can find out by the way they play. So finally, I want to emphasize to say something about the functions of a culture. The culture is a way to spread the civilization. Okay, say for example, the Chinese culture. If I introduce the Chinese culture to you, and then you know something about Chinese culture, and then maybe you say, okay, that's good. Then you also want to have this kind of culture. So in this case, the culture can be introduced from one civilization to another. The second is the culture is usually used to regulate the behavior of the people, just like what we see for the morality, for example, for the ideological level of culture, and then we emphasize just like things like the ideas like Confucianism to make people behave themselves. And the third function is culture. It can be used to unify all different kind of forces we have. so that we can become stronger. And for example, the national anthem. The national anthem, when old people in the country sing the same song, use the same language, write the same words, they eat the same food, then you have so much in common, so that you can find wherever you go, you can share your experience, and then very quickly you can make them become unified. But if the people in one place is too much different from the people in another place, and then it's difficult for these two groups of people to become unified. So I think that is the function of culture. I'm very sorry, I can't see you in face, and I really want to have some kind of official contact with you, and in the future I hope we can have the chance to communicate. If you got any questions, you can ask. Maybe have I made myself clear?
Professor Liu, it was a wonderful presentation and some different cultural aspects. And I'm not sure if there is some questions. We had some comments during your speech, but I would like to thank you again for giving us the idea of Confucianism and Taoism, some principles like living in harmony and respect, improving relationships, and trying to make a better world. And the same emphasizing culture, different levels and its aspects in reading, Chinese medicine, and the Qi energy, very important. I practice Tai Chi Chuan. And yeah, martial arts, Beijing opera and masks, tea leaves, porcelain, paper cards, silk painters, clothes, and typical games. I think, at least for me, it was a small advance in knowing the Chinese culture. I like it a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Krishna, I think that there is a question. Somebody has said, somebody has a question. Yes.
Yeah, but okay. If you, Professor Liu, can give book recommendation.
It depends on what kind of culture they really interested in, because there are so many different kind of books. So if you are interested in, for example, in Qigong, or in Chinese, or traditional Chinese medicine. So it depends on what kind of culture do you have in mind, or you just want to have some kind of a Chinese culture in general.
Thales is in our ODS, and he wrote this. Let's wait for him to write.
To specify, yeah.
Yeah, to specify.
Thales também a gente tem não só no Instituto Confúcio da UFMG, mas na Biblioteca da Faculdade de Letras da UFMG, um acervo bem interessante, não só de livros pedagógicos, mas também livros culturais. Se ele quiser, a gente está à disposição.
Fernanda Oliveira wrote Chinese culture for Brazilians or something like that.
Actually, we don't have a book about that. Our Confucius Institute is trying to introduce the Chinese culture to the Brazilian students. For example, Confucius Institute, we have every week we have cultural activities in calligraphy, in painting, in pinky pongy, in the Chinese instrument of guzheng, or we can say Holosi, and also we have square dance, and we have handicraft by making, for example, Chinese knot, and we also have got Tai Chi. We have all these kind of activities in our Confucius Institute. So I've told Professor Miriam, and if you have this kind of need, in some day we can ask the professors to go to your school and then to make the students participate in this kind of activities. If you just say it, it's really difficult for you to understand it. You have to do it, and then you can understand it much better.
Okay. I'm interested in some calligraphy and some painting. I will try to join you there.
Yes. Actually, Professor Miriam drew a very beautiful picture yesterday.
Oh, because yesterday we had some painting activities.
Yes.
Because we have been celebrating during this week the Mid-Autumn Festival, okay, which is a traditional celebration in Chinese culture. So yesterday we had the activities of painting, and I tried, and I think I did a good job, okay. But I'd like to invite all of you students, maybe for the future classes at CEFET, but also at our Confucius Institute for these extra activities we offer during the week, okay? So you are all welcome to go there. And Thales, you will find some books about history at our library as well, okay?
Okay, maybe Miriam, you can write to us. The address is www.
You mean from our website or from our Instagram? Okay, sorry, I don't know by heart.
To be registered.
But you can just reach Fale UFMG. Maybe I can write here, and then you will find Confucius Institute there, okay?
Okay. It's good to be registered.
Mm-hmm. It's already in the chat, okay? So,
okay, good.
This is our website.
Yeah, it's there. Thank you a lot. So thank you again, you from the Confucius Institute, and thank you for the audience. E aí eu gostaria de agradecer a todos mais uma vez e fazer a chamada para amanhã, que é o nosso 4º dia de evento, que nós teremos 4 atividades. Uma pela manhã, que é Você Fala Africano? Vai ter uma abordagem sobre a diversidade de línguas no continente africano e sua convivência com línguas europeias. E de tarde temos 3 programações, uma é Professional Passport, a outra é sobre programas de intercâmbio para o ensino médio e técnico, e a outra sobre o valor do voluntariado durante o intercâmbio. Eu agradeço mais uma vez, como sempre, a nossa diretoria-geral do CEFET-MG, que nos dá um apoio para todas as nossas atividades, nossas ideias, nossos acordos, né? E com certeza vai nos apoiar muito para as nossas propostas para o próximo ano, não é isso, Miriam?
Isso. A gente espera fazer um trabalho bem interessante juntos aí com o CEFET.
Com certeza vamos fazer. E agradecer à Secretaria de Comunicação, na pessoa do Júlio, que fica aí nos bastidores, nos salvando e projetando esse evento. Muito obrigada a todos, então. Espero encontrá-los amanhã pela manhã. Obrigada novamente, professora Miriam. Thank you, professor Liu. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Muito obrigada. Nós que agradecemos em nome do Instituto Confúcio da UFMG, e eu mudei o endereço porque eu acho que eu cometi um erro no endereço anterior. Se puder, por favor, publicar, eu agradeço muito. Boa tarde a todos.
Ok.